Hello, everyone. How are you? I haven't gone live in a while, so I'm nervous. But I am grateful for the opportunity to do this. It's been a while. Hey, Nicolene, how are you? How are you doing, sis? Nicolene is one of the awesome people that inspires me. She is a mom, a PhD holder, an educator, one of my, women of substance, as well as she just inspires me. You know, many of you inspire me on here. I'm grateful to see you. It's been a while since I did a live topic, and this is Queenkay Unfiltered. And what that means basically is, we have 5,000 or so friends. Some of you are friends that I know personally, and then some of you are friends that I met on this medium. Many of you may know a little bit about me, and some people might see me and be like, well, she's always happy. I'm normal. I have my days, my good days and my bad days. But for the most part, the way God created me, I'm a very, I don't stay sad for too long. If I'm sad, I deal with it. I pray about it. I talk through it in my head. If it's major, I might talk to my mom, husband, then my mom, and it blows away after a few minutes. But today I felt in my spirit that I just needed to go without edits and just talk in what I call Queenkay Unfiltered, and the topic today is resilience. What does it mean to be resilient, right? And that's also the theme of our store's 20th anniversary, is being resilient. The idea that we're all going to go through hard times, but we're all going to eventually, the hard times are going to pass, and eventually you become better able to handle life's battles and obstacles as they come. So to be quite honest, I didn't prepare anything. I don't have any notes. I just have the topic of resilience. And, sometimes I get scared when I don't have something prepared. But I decided to have an unfiltered, off the cuff, just talk about what it means to be resilient. For me, being that this is the theme of our store's 20th anniversary. Thanks, sweetie. I'll talk a little bit about the me that I've always been. I've always been this person that full of life, full of laughter, the life of every party, if you will. And people are always looking to me for strength and encouragement. But I'm human. Sometimes I need to be encouraged, right? And I think one of the things, I'll kind of segue a little bit from my theme of what I'm trying to say. Sometimes people ask me, I'll get a message, people ask me, how do you really know that God is real, right? And one of my experiences of God being real is 11 years ago, almost to this day. I was in the hospital, and my kid's father, my first husband, he's late now, who started the store. I'm currently at the store right now. Everybody was around in a circle and praying that he would come back to life. And I was like, God, you can't let me down. I mean, I'm young, I'm 33. What do I know about being a single mom? What do I know about being a widow? What do I know about? I didn't even think about the store, to be quite honest. I was like, forget it, right? And this guy, the reason why I moved to the Bay Area, takes his last breath. And I'm standing there like, are you serious? Like, God, are you really serious? And in that moment, I heard the audible voice of God. There was nobody speaking to me. I said to God that he should just take my life, just turn the switch off, whatever that meant, however he was going to do it. And I wasn't going to go back home. I wasn't even thinking at that moment about my kids. And I heard God speak to me. So that's my first, well, I've heard God speak to me many times, but that was like really like that moment, that 11th hour, when I was in denial, when I was saying, God, you're going to wake this guy up, and we're going to leave this place, right? And he did not wake up. So I'm sitting there, people are crying around me, and I'm feeling like an out-of-body experience. Like, I should just die right now because this is ridiculous, right? And I heard God say, you will not die. You will take care of those kids, and I will help you. That was all I needed, right? And I sort of snapped back. My mind came back to the people wailing around me. And I said, oh my God, he's gone. Now, if that's not a clear evidence that God existed or exists, I don't know what else is. So I find myself in a zombie state, and I'm going back home. And people are taking me home, and I'm in the car, and we're driving to my house from Stanford University Hospital to Oakland. This happened on November 17, Saturday, November 17th, 2007. Somehow, when I got home, I looked outside, and there were cars stretched around the block. And I'm like, where did these people come from? It's a Saturday. I'm sure a lot of people had weddings and parties and whatnot. And I get home and I sit down. And I'm sure people probably thought I was crazy because I wasn't crying or throwing myself on the floor. In fact, I had a cousin of mine who was on the floor, and people thought she was the wife. And they were consoling her. And somebody was like, sure, that's not the wife. That's, this other one is. So I'm sitting there talking about him in the present tense. He's a great person, this. I'm in shock, obviously. But I keep remembering what God was telling me, what God told me when I was in the hospital, right? You will not die. It's not your time. I will give you the help you need to take care of these kids. So who were my people around me, right? I had friends. I had my mom. I love my mom. She's awesome. And my mom was around. She was just praying. My mom's a prayer warrior. And here's an interesting story. Another evidence, right, that God exists. She had an experience a couple of days before this man passed away, right? And the experience she had was that while he was in the hospital, we were, I was in denial. I'd been in the hospital for 4 days or so. I hadn't showered. I hadn't, nothing. I was just like in denial. You're going to wake up. You're going to come out of here. And this is going to be a miracle, right? And my mom said while she was sitting, looking, praying, she saw like an angel. That's the best way she could describe it. And it was in complete, I guess, ancient Roman attire, like armor and the spiky, warrior attire with wings flapping. And she started to cry because she knew then that was the end was near. But she couldn't tell us, and we were like, take her out of here. She's getting hysterical, right? Because again, I was in denial because I believed that he would not die. So I get home and there's all these people in the house. And it started to dawn on me that something major had happened in my life. So I have my 2 little kids. I'm seeing them for the first time. And since several days. And I realize this is what I have to live for. You have to have a what? You have to have something to live for. You have to have a reason. You have to have a reason not to give up. And those were my reasons. Those were my marching orders that God gave me. That I will help you. I will show you what to do, and I'll provide the people around you. So I had the God, I had my immediate family, and I had my friends, a few friends. And then suddenly I'm dealing with incredible bills. This is America. So you wake up to the reality really quick, and you realize you have to deal with the IRS, you have to deal with your mortgage, you have to deal with being a single mom, a mom and a dad and a provider for your children, all at the same time. And of course, you have to plan the funeral. So we did all these things. Again, our theme is resilience. So this is the build up to be able to survive that. That was like a major, aha moment for me. Widow, single mom, small business owner, all in one day. And I have debt. This store is going to be 20 years, not because of me, but because of the grace of God. My house was on the brink of foreclosure. I mean, just name it. I was dealing with it only by the grace of God. That is how I know that God exists, because he told me. I heard his voice. And that is why I haven't given up. And customers would come to me and they would tell me, KK, we are taking bets. People are taking bets, not we. We're taking bets on how soon you're going to shut down wherever it was that they believed that I would go to. So I'm dealing with all these crises, and I'm just praying like a zombie, just going from just not exactly knowing how I'm going to make it through the day, except for just that little belief that there was something greater than myself inside of me, within me, around me, with angels, with human angels, my mom, my close friends that to this day are still amazing. And then it starts to happen. You start to have people who you love so much and you expected to be in your life, who start to talk about you. Not because I'm perfect, but I never experienced anything like that in my life. So I didn't have the tools, the coping mechanisms, if you will. Like, I wasn't ready for all that was happening. And yet I was surviving. I would pick up the phone, I would call IRS, and I would say, I can't pay this bill right now, but can you give me some time? I will make it up. Customers who chose to come to my store, they told me, we are not going to leave. We're not going to stop coming here. If you say you want to close, we understand. But on as long as you are the owner of the store, no matter what little you have or how much you have, we are going to support you because we want you to be successful. I mean, have you ever heard anything like that? And these people, to this day, they are still coming. They are still wishing me well. So when I'm celebrating or marking, it's easy, or it's not because I've never had the opportunity to kind of just go live unfiltered and not be all polished and whatnot. So forgive me if this is just coming off this. In your darkest hour, that is when you know who is in your corner. That is when you know who, and that is when you know who wants to see you fail. And I saw every shade of humans that I could possibly see. And at some points I'd become bitter, because I was angry. I was angry at God. I was angry at people. I was just angry. And people that I expected didn't call. That is why when somebody has a loss, even if I'm not close to them, I reach out. A phone call, a text. I just keep doing it because that is who I am, and because of my experience, I know how it is when everybody leaves the room. There's just a few people that will be there for and with you. Resilience, for me, is when God gives you that extra oomph. It's like when you put a tea bag in hot water and it comes back up without bursting. That's what resilience means to me. And just imagine you're now going through life, you're raising children, you're trying to do the right thing, and you're like, well, even though I was like, the typical Nigerian saying, Tufiakwa, hi, I would never marry again. That was what I said then, because I thought, how is it even possible to have a relationship with someone who could love you the way you deserve to be loved? Because I didn't know how it was I was spoiled. I was a spoiled wife in a good way, not bratty. So I resisted that. Eventually, I was like, okay. Started opening up, and I got burned, That's a story for maybe another day or a book. But I'm still standing. And that's the resilience that God put in me. And then I thank God for the woman that I am today, and the man that He put in my life for such a time as this. My husband, Dennis, who I have no shyness about telling him how much I love him personally and publicly, because when God brings someone to your life who adds value to your life, who helps you be a better version of yourself, who adds value to you being a parent, who helps you to process your thoughts in a positive way and wants the best for you, you have to give that person props. I feel personally that my kids are better, doing better as a result of having Dennis in my life. And I'm having an interview with them, or I'll be posting an interview that I had with them. Years ago, I had an interview with them when, I think it was 6 years ago, just to see how they were doing. And now checking in, they're taller than me, 6 feet plus, and how much they've grown from that time. And I'm so grateful. Life goes in circles. People come and people go. You know, it's a revolving door. Some people will stay. Those are your roots. Some people will go. Those are just leaves, seasonal people. Some people are takers. They just come to take, to see what they can get from you, whether it's money, whether it's influence because of the people you know. And, you know, that's life. So I've developed thick skin. I've developed discernment, a strong discernment of knowing who is in your life for what and why. And learning how to recognize it and kind of pushing away from those who will take from you. So being resilient as a human being, being resilient as a mother, being resilient as a business person, knowing who I am, knowing that truly God does exist, that He speaks to me many times through people, directly, through dreams. You know, sometimes I have to actually slow down and actually quiet my mind so that I can hear the message that He's giving me. I know that I'm here for something bigger than myself. I haven't even scratched the surface of what God wants to do in my life, through my life, with my life. I know that I'm here for a reason bigger, and I'm just scratching the surface. And I know people call me all the time or pull me aside and tell me how inspiring I am or whatever, but I don't really, I'm just living my life. I'm just being myself. I'm doing what I'm called to do. I'm not a preacher. I'm just a human being who loves and who loves to give, who loves to share. People ask me for different things all the time. I don't have, there's no reason for me to not share information if I have it. So I always give. I believe in the power of reciprocity, and what you sow, you will reap. You may not reap it from the same place that you planted, but it definitely comes back. If you keep being good, if you don't give up, if you keep having faith and staying prayerful and believing that you're put here for a reason, regardless of all the obstacles, regardless of the good, the bad, the ugly things that have happened in life, just don't give up. And try to appreciate all the really awesome people around you, your children. Your heart is beating for a reason. You know, when you keep quiet and you just listen and that's all you hear, your heart is beating. That's purpose. That's your destiny is calling. Whether it's a small or a big mission that God has for you, grab onto it. Grab onto the person who created you, who has the blueprint for your life, the blueprint for your success, and make it. So I said this was Queenkay Unfiltered, talking about being here, standing tall, believing that I'm here for a greater purpose than just myself. I'm here for my kids. I'm here for my loved ones. I'm here to make a difference. And when that time comes, when God says, it's time to go, that I would have made the impact that He wants me to make, which is why He said, no, not today. You are going to stay here, and you are going to do what I released you into the world to do. So go out there and be awesome. Hug your loved ones tight. Stay prayerful. Stay still. Pay attention to who's there and for what reason. Okay? Be blessed. Love you.